Hi, Terry here. Welcome to part three of my four-part series on testing my homemade black powder for use as a propellant in antique muzzleloaders. So actually, this is the remake. Long story short, I lost the first version of this, which probably will turn out to be better than this one. They usually do. But anyway, ended up having to reshoot it. Had some technical problems with the firearm that I was using. It was that 30 caliber Uberti 31 caliber pocket gun. I don't know. I'm about to give up on it. It was just nothing but one problem after another with that darn thing. So anyway, I'm back, and today I'm going to be using my trusty and reliable Pieta 44 caliber 3-inch snub nose. So today's subject is penetration slash damage. Now, there are a lot of ways that can be tested. The two most common, neither one of which I use, are a chronograph, muzzle velocity, or as we like to say here in the South, a velocimeter, and penetration into ballistics gel. And the idea here is once you know the mass of the projectile and the muzzle velocity, you can then go look up on a chart and extrapolate how much damage it would do or how much penetration it would have at a certain distance. Same thing with ballistics gel. After you determine the mass of your projectile, the distance, and the penetration, then you can extrapolate the damage from a chart. I find both of those methods incredibly boring. Um, I don't really care how far the bullet will go into ballistics gel. And quite frankly, I don't really care about the muzzle velocity. I really just do not care that one type of powder might be 50 feet per second faster than another type of powder. I know some people just really love that, but it just doesn't mean anything to me. 50 feet per second faster. So what? See, what I care about is what kind of damage is that thing going to do to muscle, bone, and internal organs in a self-defense situation. Now, I understand hunting, combat, where the target is a greater distance away. Yeah, higher muzzle velocity can be an important factor because, if it's 50 to 75 feet per second faster or slower, that can have a great influence on how soon after leaving the barrel that bullet hits that target. And if it's subsonic ammunition, that means the speed of sound is traveling ahead of the bullet. And if a deer, for example, hears the shot and has got a second to react and jump out of the way, the bullet's just going to fly right past it. So yeah, I can understand that. But in a self-defense scenario, this far away, maybe maybe a little bit, 6 feet, maybe even right up here, it just doesn't matter. At least not to me. So what I've done is devise a test to create what I consider to be a fairly close facsimile of a human torso, and we're going to shoot against that. This is the Paul Harrell meat target, and basically the idea here is we've got some pork butterfly chops up front to represent pectoral muscles, followed by a rack of pork ribs for the rib cage, followed by a bag of oranges for internal organs. And then we're going to back that up with another rack of pork ribs for the back of the rib cage, and then my wood bullet stop. So I've loaded this with 2 rounds of Triple F GoX, 2 rounds of Triple F slurry made powder, homemade, and 2 rounds of ball mill dry method corned powder, Triple F, ran for 28 hours in the mill. And then both the slurry and the dry ball mill powder were pressed under about 15 tons of pressure. So here's where the test nerds are going to get really mad at me. I did not measure the powder in this. What I did, I loaded it the way I carry and shoot this. I filled the chamber up with powder. Then I took the bullet ram that came with the gun, and it's got a little hole here, slide it in, and I just rammed that down with a rubber mallet hard as I could. Filled it up again, rammed it down again, filled it up a third time, rammed it down. Then I seated the bullet, and then I took that rubber mallet and I just rammed that ball down as hard as I could until all 6 rounds just barely clear the surface of the cylinder. So it'll turn freely, but it's the front of the ball is exactly even with the front of the cylinder on this. I don't know how much powder that is, to be honest. I would guess 45 to maybe 50 grains. And yeah, there are some factors to take into account here. An example is certain powder mine, the slurry method, just say, is possibly less dense than GoX, so it will compress more maybe than the GoX, so I might get more powder in. Now I could counter that with, yes, but if it's less dense and I'm packing in more powder, then I'm getting the same weight of grains of powder. That's why I didn't measure it, because all my measures are calculated for grains of triple F GoX, a density of about 1.7 grams per cubic centimeter, I believe. And if my powder is more or less than that, then the scale will be out of balance. And instead of just weighing it out, I loaded it the way I carry it, maximum capacity. So in that respect, it is a valid test because they're loaded the same. The GoX is loaded the same as the slurry, as the ball mill powder. So any significant differences I get in penetration or in, say, peripheral tissue damage will be valid. They will be legitimate. So enough talking. Let's do some shooting. Let's see what we got. Okay, so up first was the GoX Triple F, and it penetrated those butterfly chops, no problem. I want to show you this. You see that? See that hole? That is massive. That is a massive entry wound. Look at that. Same on this side. We've got almost, hits in almost exactly the same place. We've got a hit down here and then a hit here for this would be the slurry powder. And then these two would be the ball mill that ran for 28 hours. And they've all penetrated here, went through the bone. This one missed bone. This one went right through a bone, just shattered it, just pulverized it. Hit a bone, pulverized it, missed a bone. So that's some good damage on that. And look what we did here to the butterfly chops. And then here on these pectoral muscles, butterfly chops. Yeah. We've got mashed up orange juice and orange pulp all over the back of the ribs. Look at that. And this would be slurry powder. This is on this. So this here would be GoX slurry, and then on this bag of oranges would be the ball mill. So this was that slurry powder. I mean, if that was the man's heart, that's it. He's done. Heart, lungs, liver, that's it. Game over. Got a barely scratched it there, but even so, that's some serious wound. Look at the internal organ juice and junk all over it. And then here's GoX. There's a hit from GoX. And here's another hit from GoX. Triple F. Ball mill. Ran for 28 hours. Oh man, I can tell already. This, oh man, I got one direct hit. I got to show you this. Unfreaking real. Look at that. Just pulverized it, destroyed it into pieces. Heart, lungs, liver at about 6 feet. My powder ran through a ball mill for 28 hours and then pressed 15 tons of pressure and corned into Triple F. Look at that. Okay, the back pork ribs. The two hits from the GoX completely went through, and here is one of them, pretty flat. I'm going to show you that here in a bit. Pretty flat, actually, really flattened out. Hit bone on both of them, went through the bone, so came out the back of the body, hit this, one of them hit this wood backstop, and then was itself stopped. The other one is embedded in the wood, and none of the others are sitting on the table, so they're all embedded in the wood. So I've got one, I think, yeah, there's one. I just shredded that thing. It just opened it up. I'm going to show you that closer, but that was with the slurry powder. Obviously did not penetrate the back ribs. And then the ball mill powder did. Now it's interesting to note here that neither one of the bullets made with the slurry method penetrated the back ribs. So the other one is probably still embedded in here somewhere, or it's laying around loose somewhere. Interesting. That's it. So the others are embedded in this backstop. There's bits of meat stuck here on the backstop. There's one right there. No, it's wood. So there's the bullets that I was able to recover. This was a slurry powder stuck in the back ribs. This was GoX up against the backstop, laying. It hit the backstop, flattened out, and then stopped. The other bullet from the slurry, I haven't been able to locate it. Both bullets from the ball mill are embedded in the wood backstop. So both bullets from the 28 hours in the ball mill went completely through the torso, went completely through that guy. If this had been somebody attacking me, it would have gone completely through him, absolutely just destroyed anything in between that it hit, come out the back, and kept on going with enough force to embed itself in this solid chunk of wood here. Very cool. All right. Okay, so what does all this mean? Well, at least in my 44 caliber snub nose, I think my ball mill powder is at least comparable, maybe a little more powerful than GoX, but at least as good as. The slurry powder, again, I'm going to have to say that even though it had a slower burn time and it generated less of a recoil, I guess it just didn't feel as powerful. And that's when I weighed out the charges in grains, which is, again, is not how I load what I'm going to carry. I just pack as much powder as I can get in these things. And when I do that, that seemed to really bump that power up. So I didn't notice a big difference between GoX and slurry. Where I saw the main difference was with the ball mill. Remember, out of 2 rounds from GoX and 2 rounds from slurry, I recovered 1 round of each. And I recovered no rounds, neither one of the 2 rounds fired with the ball mill powder. So my conclusion is, while it is legal in most jurisdictions to make our own propellant at home for antique muzzleloaders, we can, at least for now, make a propellant that is at least as good, maybe even a little better than what we can buy commercially. And I think that's kind of cool. So thanks for watching. Number 4 is going to be the breeze, which means it'll be probably technically the hardest one of all. That's cleanliness. I can tell right now that none of these powders are clean. Black powder just doesn't burn clean. But yeah, that's cool. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time. Oh, by the way, subscribe, like, share, notification, yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes, okay? See you next time. Hey, Terry here. I'm back. Just a quick addendum. I'm putting everything away, getting ready to transfer this film onto my computer and start working it down. And I discovered that I just really realized that I had forgotten something. The bullet that I used in that test was a .451 diameter soft lead ball. No, I did not use a conical. And yes, I do understand that conicals do create better penetration than balls, but balls actually have more shock value, more knockdown power, um, more peripheral damage around the wound. And that was proven back in the Civil War. But anyway, I wasn't testing bullets. I wasn't trying to get the best, the most penetration possible. What I was testing was the 3 different black powders. So as long as they're all the same, then whatever bullet we use really doesn't matter. They're going to perform equally. So it could have been conicals, could have been Kaidos, I think they're called. Could have been, they just turned out to be soft lead ball ammo. So that's all I got to say about that.